Now, a lot of people I know don't do it that way. Instead, they would post statuses on Facebook, Twitter, and dun sila magrarant, dun sila magli-leak. We call that leaking out. And it's not good. You know why? And there are some employees who do this. Sadly, I tell people, especially business owners, no, now if your employees do that, they leak on social media, you now know it's fair game. From Jazz, was there a time in your life when you question your confidence in the business you're running? Yes. Yes, and yes, and yes. There were lots of times in my life na naisip ko, am I really fit to run this business? Did God really make me CEO of this business? It's so hard. There were a lot of times when I failed, and there were a lot of times when literally I was on my knees, locked in a room, and all I can do really is humble myself before God and pray. And I tell him, Lord, di ko na kaya. Di ko na kaya gawin to. Di ko na alam kung anong gagawin ko. And one clear picture of that is at the start of this pandemic. A lot of businesses got wiped over time, but over a short span of time. Right? So unemployment rate, 45%. From 7% noong January, 45% siya noong August. That's huge. That means a lot of businesses closed down. A lot of businesses got wiped. And my business, SEO Hacker, was also affected. Workplace, my fourth startup, was also affected. Queries, also everything affected. So that was one time when I recently got on my knees and had to pray. And I just was honest with God and I said, I don't know what to do. Please help. And God gives wisdom. Talagang galing sa kanya yun. So we were able to keep all our team members in the team. We never fired anyone or retrenched anyone. We made programs to adjust pay grades, but we also made sure that coming nasa Execom, we took pay cuts, zero. We did not get salary. And I even took out from my own safety net to make sure that people got paid the right amount, even when our clients weren't paying us right. So most of my clients are local, and I understand, nagkakaproblema din sila. Their customers are also not paying them. We have to understand during times of crisis, you can't do business as usual. It has to be relationships. That is when you use the relationships you have built with your clients. And kailangan nyo intindihin yung isa't isa eh. So, with my clients, same. I understood them na hindi nila kaya magbayad. I also had to haggle with my people. This is what we're gonna do. Better for all of us to suffer a little than some of us to have to suffer a lot and lose their job. So we all agreed to that. And that's how we made it through. No one got axed in our organization. We kept everyone in the team. But there were lots of times when I did question my confidence in running SEO Hacker. But during those times, the first thing that I do, lock the room, get down on my knees, and be honest with myself and my God. Another thing that helps me is I journal. That helps me to process what I'm feeling. So instead of me being angry and just exploding to other people, could be my family, could be other people in the team, I don't know. But I try my best to keep that from happening. And thank God, wala namang maraming instances nun. And that's because I journal. When I am not rested, I feel restless. And I feel like there's something really bothering me. I pray and I journal. Those two things help me process and help me release and vent out the emotions that are just overwhelming for me. Now, a lot of people I know don't do it that way. Instead, they would post statuses on Facebook, Twitter, and dun sila magrarant, dun sila magli-leak. We call that leaking out. And it's not good. You know why? And there are some employees who do this. Sadly, I tell people, especially business owners, no, now if your employees do that, they leak on social media, you now know it's fair game because it's public domain. Social media is a public platform where the public can see what they're posting. Yeah, it could be their friends, but their friends is part of the public. They're not part of a secret private organization. They're part of the public. Twitter, the same. It's a public platform. So people who see the things that they leaked out on social media, even nasty things about their own organization and company, that's gossip because that's a negative thing that you just leaked out on the social media platforms. So what I tell business owners and friends is when your employees do that, you have to tell them, now that's fair game for me to consider on your next raise or on your next review, because that is a public thing that you did. You have negatively put my company in bad light. You have negatively put the company and the person paying you so that you can have a livelihood and you can eat in bad fashion, in a distasteful manner. So now that it's fair game, you can use that to your advantage on their next review, and they can't do anything about it because you have proof that they gossiped and slandered your company, and you as their boss or leader publicly. So that's what I say. Do not leak your emotions, especially on social media. Write it down on a journal, pray about it. That way, you have dignity and you have honor to keep things yourself, not exploding to anyone. And you didn't hurt anyone in the process, but you were able to let it out. You were able to vent it, and you feel better, and you can process things better, and you see clearly. And overall, it is a much better, more sophisticated way to handle your emotions. We have a question from Jazz. How did you deal with people, especially friends, family, or loved ones, who didn't believe in your capabilities in running your business? Funny story, because I actually had a little argument with my dad because he wanted me to climb the corporate ladder. The irony is, my dad is a businessman. He runs a trading company for hardware items here in the Philippines. And we got into an argument because it's true what he said. It's very difficult to do business here. The government, it doesn't really help when they slap you with a lot of taxes, and they're corrupt also. They ask you for a lot of the guy. You know how it is. I know how it is. It is difficult to be a businessman here. My dad didn't want me to be a businessman because he said, I remember he told me, there's no way that you're going to make it clean. There's no way the government is going to make you play it dirty. They're going to make you play it dirty. There's no way you can make it clean. So he doesn't want me to do that because he wants me to be a man of integrity and honor. And he knows that I love and fear God. And so he wanted me to climb the corporate ladder. I was working during that time in HP, and I remember we had arguments about me resigning. So it's not that he didn't believe in my capacity or capability to run the business, but I think he didn't understand what I was doing. I mean, SEO, no one has heard about SEO way back 2009, 2010. Walang may alam ng SEO. It's a blue ocean. My dad, mind blown. Hindi niya alam po anong ginagawa ko. So in his mind and eyes, I was like playing. It couldn't be a profitable business. There is no way that it's going to grow. There's no way it's going to be sustainable, stable, and secure. And that's what my father wanted for me. Because he's my dad. He loves me. And he wants me to take care of myself. He wants what's best for me, guys. That's it. It wasn't because he was trying to put me down, but he just wanted what's best for me in his own eyes and in his own mind. And we finally settled with a negotiation where he asked me to talk to his church leader and to prove that I had the plan B if the business fails. And I showed them that a lot of people were trying to hire me actually from here and abroad on LinkedIn. I had a ton of hiring messages. I don't know why. Maybe because they read SEO Hacker. I don't know. They were looking for me as to be an SEO manager during that time. I had open positions for me to fill up in Australia and the US and all of these places. And so I showed that to them. And finally they said, okay, then your plan B looks pretty solid. Then you can try and start SEO Hacker and run it full time. So that's what I did. So it wasn't because they didn't believe in my capability. It's just that they didn't understand what I was doing. So thankfully, wala naman akong family, friends, or loved ones na sinabing, di mo kaya yan, or, they would put me down. Wala naman ganon, no, by God's grace. So we have a question also from Monster Wings. Thank you for consistently sharing your thoughts. My question is, how do you keep your passion burning? How to deal with stressful people and business frustrations? The word passion comes from from the Latin word pati, which means suffering. When you say you're passionate about something, it means you're willing to suffer for something. How do I keep the passion burning? How do I keep allowing myself to suffer for the business or for my businesses? When you know that you're not the CEO, when you know that you're not the real business owner, but God is, and He expects the best from me, that helps me. That helps me keep the fire going. And when I know that there's a lot of people, I have 50 people in SEO Hacker. When you know you have 50 people who rely on you to make things work, that keeps the fire burning. When you know you have your family that you have to provide for and you have to secure their future in a very uncertain time, that helps me to keep the fire going, to keep the passion going. There are so many things that I'm also grateful for and thankful for. And whenever I pray, and I say these things out loud and I thank God for these things, that helps the passion going for me. Motivation, and I keep saying this, how you get motivated every day is be grateful every day. Have 10 things that you're thankful for every day, and you will know that there's no reason for you to stop. There's no reason for you to shortchange yourself and just laze out, be lazy. There's no reason. There's a lot of reasons for you to make sure you do your best. Your next question is how to deal with stressful people and business frustrations. Well, the first thing I do is I quiet down, settle down, I pray. Sometimes I meditate. I just put on my noise canceling headphones, turn on the meditation audio, and just close my eyes and meditate. Just breathe deep, and that relaxes me. And then I journal. I make sure to write it out, because if I don't write it out, guess what? It squats on my head. And a lot of people, again, what they do is they leak it out on social media, which is the worst, one of the worst things, if not the worst thing you can do. I just write it out on a journal. That's what I do. I deal with stressful people truthfully. My wife says that I have to do it truthfully and with love, but my tendency is to just do it truthfully. I need to add a little bit more love in my words, I know. So I'm a work in progress when it comes to that one, but usually I just confront them straight on. That's how I deal with stressful people. Another question from Cedric. Can you share with us your journaling habits or routines? So when I open my journal, I use a fountain pen. By the way, if you want to know what kind of journal I keep, it's a leather journal, super simple. And I have the sheets here are refillable. So my handwriting is hideous. You will not be able to understand my handwriting. Sometimes I don't understand my own handwriting. And that's really how I journal. I just have it on my work desk. Whenever I feel like I need to pour my heart out, I just open it up and start writing. I make sure to write the date stamp and time stamp, and I just pretty much do free flow. I just write. That's how I do it, because it's my journal. It's not meant for anyone to read. I don't need to fix the font. I don't need to fix my handwriting. I don't need to make the words flowery. I don't need to elongate the words there. It is a free flow journal, and I just pour my heart out there. So far, that's it, guys. It's a wrap. Thank you so much for putting in your questions. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.